What's your disagreement?
My disagreement is just basically about the fact that black women shouldn't have to feel obligated to smile to black men. We're holding a lot of trauma. We're holding a lot of problems. Mental health issues.
Oh, hold on. How old are you?
24.
I'm gonna say this one more time. I need you to pay attention. I need all black women to pay attention. The world does not owe you understanding or me understanding. If you have all this trauma, go seek professional help, because the rest of us do not have to suffer you.
Okay, it's easy to tell black women and black people in the black community to get help.
Whose responsibility is it to get the help they need?
But it's not available readily to our community.
That is bullshit. Whose responsibility is it to get the mental health they need? Who?
It is ultimately the responsibility of us to get the mental health that we need. But I'm letting you know that we are very underserved.
You can't make this stuff up. So you say we're underserved. You got to tell me that the therapists that already exist are overloaded. We don't go get help, ma'am. You just had a therapist on here before. I talked to psychiatrists, and first of all, understand who you're talking to. I know hundreds of. Anyway, what do black people tend to deal with? How do black women tend to deal with their mental health issues? With a licensed clinician or with Jesus?
Organize, sit down, reason and talk.
Appreciation, the art of saying thank you, paying attention, having empathy, letting our actions speak louder than our words. Was this the point that Kevin Samuels is making, that black men are not appreciated by the sisters? This week's ORT.
Far too much information.
They say fart.
Good evening, Sister Ebony.
Good evening, Brother S. So good to hear you as ever.
Greetings, all.
Greetings.
Can you hear me?
Kindred.
Yeah, man.
Yes, indeed. Greetings, Sister Kindred.
Greetings.
I feel like
You're all sounding good, boy.
You too.
Ebony's got it now. Oh.
Virus.
It is right.
It's a virus.
You lot got call up Ducky last discussion, innit? Call up Ducky and
brother S here now.
Hey. There we go.
Holla, my shine.
Thank you, Sister Kindred. Okay.
Get in behind me, Satan.
I'm so pleased you're here.
You see, you can't tell him.
Like, that's what it
You
is.
see? Don't you know who be frightened, innit?
We haven't identified the duppy yet.
Enough said.
We haven't identified the duppy yet. So let's, as everybody said last week, be like Columbo, ask the questions. Let's not get too quick to say, Great Scott! So, look, you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right. Look, I don't know why this is weird, but we're not on time for get the technicians. Send the technicians if stay behind. We got this now. We got this. So yes. So welcome, Black Aquaba, to another ORT where we will be talking about Kevin Samuels.
So don't ask black men to care about your traumas when you can't even smile at us.
The Kevin Samuels effect, the Kevin Samuels contribution, and I'm pleased to say that we have our resident panelist, a queen of compassion, Ebony Harmony.
Oh.
Greetings.
Wow.
Family greetings, listeners. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah,
You're good.
And our king of one-liners, Brother S.
Greetings, people. Greetings, family. Greetings, listeners.
And our queen of analysis, Kindred Spirits.
Greetings, panelists, and greetings, audience.
And I'm your host, Baba Kush. So, in regards, Kevin, obviously we're going to look at his contributions and whether it's a case of don't shoot the messenger. But what comes to mind in terms of his platform and the discussions that took place on his platform? What is it you'd want to share with us today?
It's a difficult one, because I can't say I was a follower of Kevin, so I can't give you kind of chapter and verse in terms of an opinion on his content. But what is getting my attention more is the reaction to his passing and kind of what's going on in relation to that. And there's a real kind of viciousness around in terms of the comments that are being made online, and that's kind of getting my attention more than his actual passing. I don't know much about it other than I believe it was a heart attack. I don't think there's anything suspicious around it, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's more the kind of aftermath of it that I'm finding like, wow, what's going on?
And who's the viciousness directed towards?
I think it's not one person or one direction. I think there's a nasty kind of I don't want to call it tit for tat, but there's a nasty kind of exchange going on. Some of it ranging from "serve him right, glad he's dead" kind of comments to, at the other end, almost elevating this man to saint-like status, which and it's very strange how polarizing this man has been. And how kind of intense the level of feeling is about him, whichever direction you happen to be coming from.
I mean, I wasn't a fan of his, and I don't ascribe to him or anything, but I think I've seen one or two of his posts, and I'm not sure if I've seen the more controversial ones. But I think there's a couple of things. He may well have had a point in what he was saying when he was saying it. However, for me, there was a real viciousness and quite vindictiveness in his delivery of women. There was a real stripping down of women. And I struggled to kind of cope with that because, like I said, he may well have had a message and may well have had a point, but for me, it detracted from that in his delivery and some of the things that were said and the attitude towards women. Now, that was my big struggle, and maybe I didn't give him enough sort of like of an ear, because the struggle was how kind of like really vicious some of the things he said about women. And I just feel that, you can deliver something, you can have a feeling and a thought, and I'm just not sure if it served any purpose to speak in a certain way. I just thought it was very vicious, and I'm not sure. I was going to say I'm not sure why that is, but it gets more views, doesn't it? But then it becomes less about the delivery or the message and more about sort of like drawing the views. I don't know. I could be speaking. But
what exactly was the message? What was his kind of mission statement? What was it that he was seeking to do? Put it that way. Does anybody know?
Well, I think he had himself down. I don't know if he gave him the self-title, but as far as I know, he was deemed a guru, a relationship guru.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. Whatever that means. I guess we can extract from that what we will. In some ways, I think that lends itself to the idea that he's a relationship expert.
Right.
And I think that always laden with complications. Right? There was something Sister Ebony alluded to about the way in which we might want to convey a message in order for the receiver to receive it as it was intended. So you can be critical of someone, for instance, while still trying to look after them when you're giving them the critique. What I found difficult to listen to when I was sent some, before he died, if these people get popular and people start forwarding. Every one of them that I got, there probably was between 5 or 10, no more than that. And I'll tell you that because probably the last 5 of them I just deleted. I'd heard enough within the first 5 or so where I'm like, nah, this guy ain't really feeding these people. He's getting off on it, right? I felt there were issues that he had unresolved, that he was using his platform as a vehicle to denigrate and denigrate these, particularly women. And I was speaking to a brother last week, for instance, and the brother said to me, yeah, but he had over 1 million views. And, you know, what I liked about him was that he told the truth. I said, whoa, hold on. No, bro. I'm going to contest that. He told the truth according to who? Well, he told his, that's right, he told his truth. That doesn't make it fact. And it doesn't make it, even if it's true, it doesn't make it right that we can be and behave this way towards our own. And that was one of the things that it never sat well with me when I was listening. I'm thinking, that's sisters though. This guy's getting off on this. Of course he was a misogynist. It was clear. But I'm thinking, I don't, you know, because I am selective in my listening and my viewing, because all of these things are vibration.
Yeah.
Without me getting too technical, but all of these things are vibrations. And if I listen to this guy and allow for his vibration to, if I ingest them, then, you know, it can infect me.
Yeah.
Nothing that he said ever made me feel better. So I had to ask myself, what am I doing giving this guy time of day when I could actually be watching or learning something far more positive and constructive? And I absolutely took issue with the times that I heard where he seemed to be emotionally masturbating on these women. I was like, nah. If I listen to this, I'm kind of condoning, I'm almost becoming a supporter of what he's saying. Now, fuck that, I'm coming off. So I don't wish him dead, of course not. And I don't wish him any evil, I don't know the man. I'm always saddened by the loss of people, even when their lifestyles may not necessarily fall in place with something that fits my moral compass. But, you know, I could understand, having said that, why some of the people who were at the hard end and targeted for his vitriol are now saying, you know, the chicken come on to roost, right? And ban him. I understand why they might feel like that. Because whenever you put yourself out on a platform that becomes public, then people feel that they have a relationship with you which is over and above one which is personal. And that in the same way that you lit up, they're taking this opportunity even in his past, and then even though it may feel distasteful, they're saying ban him anyway. So the only chance I'm going to get back at him because he made a fool of me. That's my intention about it. Truth is not fact.
I applaud you.
Very eloquently put. And just to remind you, we have an audience who can deal with matters that are highly technical, so don't worry about that. Did Kevin's, not necessarily his approach, but did his space serve a purpose? If there was, what purpose did it serve?
I think Brother S touched on the misogyny, so I think misogynists would have enjoyed that space very well.
Okay.
Very well.
I think for like-minded people, he became a vehicle for them to get their particular message out. And the thing is, isn't this what the internet does? Isn't this the kind of underbelly of the internet where people can literally, you can leave a train wreck behind you, for example, in terms of relationships and whatnot, but then go online and set yourself up as an expert.
Yeah.
And if you kind of, you know, if you put your message out in a particular way, you will get followers. And the more controversial, the better.
Yeah.
And the more you denigrate, the more people become curious about you, and the more people are coming over to have a look and to see what it's all about. Your audience figures grow. Yeah. So you keep feeding the monster. Yeah. And he seems to have found a way to do that very, very well. But I think there is a point at which, though, for some people, not, you know, I can't speak for all of his followers, but there is amongst some of them a point where this thing has crossed over into something really quite disturbing in terms of the status that's been kind of attached to this man. Almost godlike, almost cult-like, actually, and that's quite. And it's very, you know, it is a bit worrying seeing some of the comments online with people who are clearly not very well, and who see his death as a reason for them to maybe they were thinking about some kind of revenge or retribution on his behalf or in his name. It's very, very, But there's a very disturbing element.
One second. Part of what I heard, you know, I'm not saying this is the entirety of what he heard, yes, but the subtext of what I heard him saying was that the average working black man is not good enough for a lot of black women.
according to him.
Yes, hold
According
on
to
now.
who? Yeah.
But hold on. Yeah, but you can say that about anything. And if a lot of people watch it and a lot of people share it, then maybe he's saying something that we don't want to face up to as a people, because we can always face up to white supremacy. We can always face up to racism, but we're not necessarily able to face up to some of the more difficult sides of our relationship. So I'm just saying it was popular. That was part of his message. It can be dismissed offhand and say, listen, it don't have any grounds. But it tapped into something to quite a lot of people. There was something there to be heard.
The people who held the same opinion of him, but it wasn't necessarily factual. I mean, I think it's very...
Ooh, can't hear you, Ebony.
Yeah, I guess
Better, yeah.
the people that the people that agreed with his opinion, but it doesn't make it factual, does it? And, where is that research based on?
No, but if that's their experience, if there's 100,000 people out there with that experience, should we want to hear it, is my question. Or are we saying then their experience needs to be somehow accredited?
No, but there isn't. But there isn't 100,000.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? There isn't. If there was 100,000 people,
Yeah.
then it's worth hearing and looking into some more. But it isn't 100,000 people who are saying that.
No, what I'm saying is people. Okay.
But even if
so
it was
within the following, and it'd be interesting to see our brother S say him get something sent to him. It'd be interesting to see if it's a man or a woman sent it. You should tell us, brother S. But for people to think about
the thing is though, right?
who shared it?
But here's the thing.
Who shared it?
Here's the thing. You see what you've just said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, his
Sorry,
message,
you're breaking up.
his
Sorry.
message.
Guideline is still
Yeah,
bad.
Sorry.
not good.
Yeah. I mean, what you said was, his message was, for the average black woman, a black man is not enough. Yeah.
I said part of his message, and I
Right.
said the whole of his message.
Okay. However, if he delivered it like that, I could hear it and we could have a discussion. Yeah? But the denigrating way that he delivered it, I can't get past, how he's portrayed black women, to hear what he's saying and have a debate and a discussion about them.
Okay.
The thing is though, who is the average black man and the average black woman?
So-
that
so
he
who-
is
so who-
determined with?
who-
because the
who-
100,000, the example of the 100,000
Who he was
talking about,
referring
his
to
followers.
was just
his followers made
was just a regular person, your regular job, your carpenter, your bus driver, or something like that, and part of it is that they're feeling that they do not have the pulling power. They feel they genuinely feel, or is what's being communicated, is that they don't feel they have the financial pulling power. Now, why money has to come into it, we don't know, but we know that money comes into relationships. It's something that we all have some experience of
That's
that.
their anxiety. That's their feeling. Who told them that? If that's their experience, then perhaps they need to look into themselves in terms of how, what is it that they feel that...
Or the black men.
Yeah. What is it they feel that the average black woman needs? Because if they're leading
So
on
hold on now,
finances
hold on
and
now.
money,
But hold on now, hold on now.
they've got it wrong, haven't
Hold
they?
on, hold on,
already?
no, but hold on now. If the question is this a feeling or a perception which is common, is the first thing, and then we should try to understand, well, why is it, as opposed to we're saying, well, they need to look at themselves, because it's like if black women have an experience of black men and they express that, the last thing they want to hear is black men say, well, maybe you need to go and look at yourself. So I do
think there's a reality to that though, Chris, because I think there is always more than one way to look at a situation. There's always more than one truth, because it is perception. Okay, and it may well be, if we come back to the 100,000, that you have a group of men there who are angry, frustrated, worried about their lack of success with women. But that in and of itself doesn't tell you very much. You then have to break it down into who they're approaching, how they're approaching, and what it is about the dynamic of their interaction with those women that is not working. They may simply be approaching women who they are not compatible with.
Absolutely.
And yet there may be other women who would be very interested in them, who they would not give the time of day. There is a kind of circular thing going on here, and it's very easy to look beyond what's in front of you sometimes as well, And it's not to say that these men cannot get any woman at all. There seems to be a particular type of woman who they are setting their sights on,
Okay.
who perhaps does not feel the same way about them. That is not the same as saying the average black man cannot get a woman, because I think that's where the narrative has got a bit twisted, because people are coupling up, babies are being born, some relationships are holding, some, you know, not so much, but it's ever evolving. So we're not sitting in a situation where people cannot seem to get together. These men cannot get women. I think there is something about the type of women that they might be aiming for, and whether or not those are necessarily the best options for them anyway. Because if these women are so money driven and materialistic, why are you chasing her when there's probably a woman who would probably like you for yourself, and you're not even looking at her? So
We welcome the listeners' comments in the comment section to help us with that one.
I mean, there's, you know, and I mean, there's also, I mean, what about the black men within that mix, you know? And I mean, the black men who quite happily want to spend money on their woman, you know, because there are some of those. And because, I mean, because it doesn't look good, does it? If we're saying, you know, there are this amount of black men who think black women are gold diggers.
Is there any difference between a woman saying, I want a man who earns, you know, X amount a year, and a woman saying, I want a man who's 6'4"?
Yes.
You know, there are these things that are getting in the way of these criteria, and I think it's the whole online dating thing that kind of fuels this a bit, where people are coming with a set of criteria now, because it's almost like you're mentally filling out this application form.
But also, there's also within that, I'm sure there are women who are, you know, want a man who earns a certain amount, but within that are the women who earn a certain amount and would like the man to be equally or roundabout so they can build together or what have you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I don't think it's as finite, you know, as simple as that. And I just think that there is no balance there, and I just feel like it's kind of really quite...
All I'm saying is Kevin had a polarizing approach, but are there still things that we need to listen? Because he's not... What I'm saying is, if you think about this in terms of politics, yes, just for 1 minute, and you have a very crass candidate, but yet that candidate is still representing a demographic, and you are then faced with a choice that, yes, the crass candidate, you know, we don't like their style, but is there something to be heard from the people who are speaking through him?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Listen, I've no issue with Kevin Samuels having the platform, but there was a couple of things that you asked early on, right? And people have said this, and we've said it in the past. Controversy sells. If you look at our program where we're trying to do truth and rights, we're never going to get 1.2 million people, and we're happy with that because we know that that's not our agenda. With people such as Kevin Samuels, he understands that controversy sells and becomes reliant upon it because it gives him a paycheck, right? And even in his defense, as is often the case, even if when he first started out, he had good intentions. We know that, you know, power corrupts, blah, 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 right? Absolute power corrupts, and
Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Yeah. Right? Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got caught up in smelling himself. Right? To the point where he's looking at his rating, he's getting feedback from men going, you told him, Kevin. He's getting feedback from irate black women saying, who the hell does he think he is? Talking to me like that. Right? And so it feeds him. It's a form of bloodletting that I imagine that there comes a time when the person, even if initially they started with good intentions, they get caught up in it.
Yeah.
I know for me, there was enough red flags about what he was saying that I'm saying, nah, I'm not in none of that. Nah. Yeah. And I've been steadfast in my view that when we're trying to talk about, when trying to reason,
I don't know why women are so offended when men ask, what do you bring to the table? I'm just being honest. What is so wrong about a man wanting you to add value to his life instead of suck him dry? What is so wrong with that? Why? And why? Why are there so many women out here right now saying, I bring the table to the table? Bring it. Can you help anything? Can this man ask you for $1,000 if he lost his job right now? That's what they mean. They mean that if I am taking care of you and you can't bring anything to the table, you're gonna run me dry. You have to bring something to the table. Y'all don't get that?
This is ORT.
ORT. This show is sponsored by Sunrise Organic CMOS. Who say I can't drink sunshine?
Today's the day
The herbs is the healing of the nation, brothers and sisters. Yeah, this is your brother, twin brothers from the Royal Maroon Herbs, 48 Ride Lane, Peckham.
I hear your feet come, hold me down.
For your healing, brothers and sisters out there, we have a comprehensive list of herbs. You can find your sarsaparilla, you can find your sea moss, you can find your brother rock, you can find your moringa. So what's up, leaf, guinea and weed? So come to the Royal Maroon Herb Shop, 48 Ride Lane, Peckham. The herbs is the healing of the nation, brothers and sisters.
Today's the day I give thanks. I am here.
This is Solomon from Black Child Promotions, one of the UK's best black book distributors, and we operate across London. Come check us out. You can also check us out on Instagram at Black Child Promotions and Facebook Black Child Space Promotion. Peace, family.
ORT. We do it cause we love you.
Anyway, what do black people tend to deal with? How do black women tend to deal with their mental health issues? With a licensed clinician or with Jesus?
That is what's pushed to us since from
the
age of you're little.
No, man. I asked who. Let's see. I asked who they see. We're not gonna play. I'm not gonna play the lily pad game. Did they go to a clinician or did they go to the church?
The church most often.
All right, and these are educated. Most of these women are educated, and they've heard about therapy. They make the choice not to go. No different than, I'm gonna switch it up. No different than women understand and hear that being 200 pounds at 5 foot tall is unhealthy. But yet 80% of our women are overweight and 80% of that is obese. They know the truth. They choose to do something else.
The narrative pushed to us most often is that a guy wants a woman with a big ass. He wants, a thick lady.
Accountability is kryptonite to modern women. Ma'am, you say the traumas? If I accept them, then you got to do something about them. Because what about the traumas that the black man has to deal with? But we still have to get out here and be functioning people in society, contributing. You don't get to walk around and say, have a special victim status.
I'm not saying we should have a special victim status, but our circumstance is different. We are women.
You're 24 years old. Is your circumstance harder or easier than your grandmother and your great grandmother?
Exponentially easier. We have access to information we didn't have.
Exponentially easier, but you're handling it worse. Your grandmother, your great grandmother actually could work with a black man with more trauma.
Because they understood that the black woman and the black man are on the same side. Now that we are all free and independent and we could do whatever we want to, why would we seek to, be one with the black man? Thank you. Clip it, slice it, put it on World Star. She said it, not me. Now that you're independent, you don't need to be with. There you go. There you go. And there you go, black man. There it is. She's finally got one to say it. Build businesses with us.
Your grandmothers and your great grandmothers had more trauma and more stress and did it better. They have exponentially less and they're handling it worse. But it's because they're free and can do what the hell they want to. They'll need to be with you. So you don't need to feel any guilt for taking care of you, for putting yourself first and making your passion, your purpose, your priority. You don't need to feel guilty because this 24-year-old woman just said it. They don't feel any guilt about it. Thank you.
And listen to each other's views.
Yeah.
That we value them, whether they be male or female. We know this is a black platform.
Yeah, man.
I'm mindful that I'm not on here to castigate my female colleagues on here. I'm not here to light them up.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm committed not to having to do that in order to be looking at our views. We're lagging in the views, No, I'm going to stay true to myself in that those platforms, there's a place for them over there. Good luck to you, Kevin. But we ain't doing that. We're better than that.
Here.
Right? Here. And I won't kick my sisters. I won't, right, on a public platform, or a personal or a private one. I'm just not in that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to seek ideas for the betterment of my people, which includes me. I can't do that if I'm going to be so divisive that I'm going to be looking for more and more reasons that reinforces why we're not getting on as a people.
So let me pose a question then, because you've said it already. This is about frequency and vibration where you're at. Now,
for real.
Now there are some people, as you will know from social media, even if you don't travel the world, within our communities who are operating on a much different frequency from us, or a much different frequency from you. And where do they go if the Kevin Samuels of this world isn't still then seen as good enough, even though it's probably operating where they are and it's providing a space for them where they are at that frequency?
Go to therapy.
A very middle class response there.
No, it isn't.
I'm telling you, therapy is a middle class tradition, and we have people who are at the other end of the spectrum who probably can't even take part in some of them can't even take part in therapy, to all therapy set up. So for them, where do they go when there's no Kevin Samuels?
Therapy as in
there's other Kevin Samuels. There's other more than one. Yeah, right. And these people will gravitate towards them. But what I'm saying is, they may need that. It may be a place that they are in their lives where they need somebody to champion for them, and so they gravitate towards that person who they see as their advocate. He speaks for me. I'm saying, great. I'm not looking to say shut the guy down and cancel him. I'm saying, if you ask me, is that something that appeals to me? Absolutely not. But make them go on. If the platform for those people, and 1.2 million of them, at least, that liked it, there would have been more than that was listening to it on the site, because we know that some scholars do. They like to listen to stuff and they like to join in when people load up the gun and start firing. But they also exempt themselves. They start, but they know the crew, and they exempt themselves when the feds turn up and want to arrest people. They say, no, it didn't have nothing to do with me. I was there, but it didn't have nothing to do with me, right? And what we say in defense of that, why we want to condemn them, is we say, well, you never stopped it.
His platform,
right? Don't think you can walk away now because you say, oh, well, actually, I didn't pull the trigger. But but you helped load the gun, and you didn't stop them. So for those people, we're always going to have a platform, and good luck to them. I'm just saying it ain't for me. There's no learning.
But isn't part of what's been said on this show is that yes, you can access those platforms, but really and truly, if you really want to have a healthy relationship, you should be gravitating away from those platforms, those polarizing places. Isn't that part of what's been said?
Yeah, because they're not bringing anything healthy.
Yeah, they're not solution focused, are they?
They're not nourishing you in any way.
No. I never walked away from any of the things that people said to me thinking, oh, that's food for thought. No, I just thought what was that? And you know what? I would turn on my TV and find some rubbish to watch for the next 20 minutes, so that the last thing I listen to was the thing that I have on my mind when I go to sleep. So I would cancel it out of my mind by watching some packer show on the telly. And let that be my lasting memory to greet me in my dreams. I don't want him in there telling about what size are you? What mark would you give yourself out of 10? And at best, you know, you look at what? You give yourself a 9. Girl, you need to just wake up and smell the coffee. At best, I'm looking at you. How tall are you? How old are you? How many kids do you have? What job do you do? What height are you? And I calculate how many pounds overweight do you think you are? Right, and is that here natural?
So you raise an interesting point, you know, is listen man, sometimes for us to get people on this show, it's like murder, you know. And yet you have people willing to go onto Kevin's platform and to some degree be humiliated.
It's a sadomasochistic.
Do they go
the blueprint for this was set a long time ago. I'm old enough to remember Jerry Springer, right?
Yes.
And we've had Jeremy Carr. There was no shortage of people lining up to go and degrade themselves and debase themselves for the sake of any kind of attention. But it's not new, unfortunately.
I remember we used to get a packet of crisps and popcorn. Ready for Jeremy.
For Jerry Springer.
And watch the bloodletting, right?
Yeah. That was like introduction to it. Yeah.
Right. Let's see if they're gonna fight. That's the thing. So they would appeal to the most primal areas of our brain, and for a while we get caught up in it, right? But they all have a short enough lifespan because eventually you see if that all. They're looking to fix
that's
anything.
all there is. Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah.
Right? You know, that's all. You know, and so we become hip to it and say, "Now, look, I see the thing pulled me in for a while. I'm hip to it now. Let me go about my business and leave them with their stupidity."
All right.
Because that's what the program was designed to do.
If you catch them all.
And I call it a program. And when we're watching it, we are becoming programmed.
Well, I go with all programs, to be honest. I don't think it can be selective. But listen, all right, I'm going to pose a question then now. So, you're having relationship problems and you don't see anything on the television that speaks to where you are as a black person. You want to talk within a black context, whatever that is. So, Kevin Samuels isn't doing it. All right. Who is doing it then? Where can people go where they can have these more mature, healthy, respectful conversations about relationships and gender roles?
Go to your friend, Dr. Rick Wallace.
Rick Wallace? Okay. I don't know that one.
Dr. Rick Wallace. Yeah.
Okay.
Try him. He's got some good stuff on YouTube.
The sister's giving you a heads up.
Yes.
Right?
And do you watch it alone or do you watch it as a couple?
We can send people.
Send them to them friends.
Friends? But you know, so you can go to friend and you can get sent to. And I'm also highlighting part of the problem here that again, we can find things like Kevin Samuels are probably something negative, but it's difficult to find something. We don't know anything in terms of a word of mouth. No one's passing anything round between us of anywhere where you can go.
That's a good point, you know, because there was a certain role that our elders used to fulfill in that context to an extent, in terms of giving out that kind of advice and, you know, an uncle or somebody who you could turn to say, look, you know, and that connection, I think, that's been lost, and people don't know where to go. And the internet is the serpent, isn't it? That entices you in, you know. And then once you're in, and you're looking at stuff that's unfiltered and not necessarily good for you, and the next thing you know, you're hooked. But there is something about being drawn into that, and because the human connections are not what they used to be, and there isn't that person that you can turn to, or you don't feel that there is. There's something,
Mr. Friend, you know, Mr. Friend. Talk to your friend, your family, your friends.
Okay,
people that exist where we can, where they can tell you a truth while looking after you.
Yeah.
So,
right? The social media ain't designed to do that. It's talking to an invisible audience in the hope that it might capture some. It's throwing out a vast net in the hope that it might capture some. That's not useful.
So I would agree with you, but I think maybe that comes a little bit further down the line, or because perhaps you need a specialist before you speak to your friends. So you may go and speak to
You heard the brother say that's costly.
no, because my thinking is, you go speak.
Go fund me, man. Go fund me.
However, you go to your friends, and you may well begin by sounding like Kevin Samuels himself to some degree.
And your friend might put you right.
Yeah,
Your friend will put you right.
Good friends will. Other friends will join you and, point you to the door and head out and not be solution focused and just buy into whatever your emotions are, which
I understand that.
Isn't that the problem, though? Isn't that the problem? Are we really coming back to misery loves company?
Thank you.
Remember, sometimes
people are not necessarily looking for solutions. They're looking to be kind of placated and to find like-minded people. They're not looking for solutions necessarily, because solutions take a bit of work and a bit of effort. You've got to do something. Something has to change. You've got to make a different decision or take a different action. And you may not be inclined to do that. You want to sit where you are, but have people around you who are willing.
And also, there are also two sides to the story, isn't it? So, if your friend is hearing one aspect of it, there isn't really much room to, to help you resolve the thing, because there's just one side of the story, and depends on your degree of anger or Kevin Samuelness.
Yeah, but the same would be said of Kevin Samuel. He's not doing couples. He's getting one side of the story, and the story that he's getting, because these ones that I saw were all women, it just seemed like he was saying, "It's you. It's not him. It's you."
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Kevin's interested in the other side of the story. That's the thing, you see.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's not, it's not. It's another reason. Like, okay, to send him. If his take on what it is that you're saying is the difficulty is only one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? We would be doing the same stuff. However, if it's your friend or something, and if you do have that type of relationship with somebody,
look here.
Yes, brother.
We're going to give Kevin a little break now. We're going to give him a break. Not in terms of
this is all about him.
To a degree. But listen. You all in your professional capacities come across black families. Do you feel that there is a space that's needed for black couples to talk?
Absolutely.
Or not even to talk, but is there a space for
them to be supported through their relationship?
Absolutely. Of course. Okay. Long overdue,
And what's your sense of us as a community grappling with that? Do you think that there are spaces and places where when you come across these families you think, you know what, I know exactly where we can send you?
No.
I know. What with your name? Okay, I know which. Don't worry. I'll go and make the referral.
Okay, I think I know some, but they're not necessarily black specific. And so if that's what you're asking, I don't know many of them. But I do, in terms of family mediation, I come across it quite commonly where I have to be quite sensitive in the way in which I'm conveying that to the family, to the parents, by saying, you all need to do some work,
I am saying black. I said that because of, again, looking at the following that Kevin was able to garner. A lot of black men where there were things they wanted to say. So maybe there is something that they identify with Kevin saying these words, because you could say Jordan Peterson says some of the things what Kevin has said, but maybe it's powerful for them to say, listen, watch your brother. If I'm going to work with you, are you going to work with me? I know there's certain things that are communicated, I hope, as on the basis that we have that shared history. So I am interested, because the reason why I said that is, again, following on from the discussion with Child Q, again, we have this black middle class, our emerging black middle class, but we don't necessarily have certain services out of those knowledge bases. So I was just highlighting that, because I know that you all work with families, or you come across black families at times, and in your jobs, and you what's your sense of the availability of resources? Well, yes, we're now in our final throws now. You see how Kevin getting excited though. Hey, hell, I'm ashamed. Right. So yes. Any final any final words, really, on don't shoot the messenger, and in terms of focusing on his raison d'etre. Any final words that you would want to say about this relationships discussion or conflict resolution or whatever it is you want to say? Is there anything you'd want to say?
Well, think about Kevin and his
approach.
Yes. I think it's quite destructive, and I think in his mind, if he feels that he's doing something positive, it's tantamount to trying to build an aeroplane in the sky.
Right. You come with them the big this up there. Mister. Well, I think I'm going to take that with me to open my dreams tonight. Yeah, build one airplane in the sky.
I think you meant to visualize and build an airplane in the ground, so during your dream, you reach a conclusion. If you try it in the sky, dog near me supper. I will see you tomorrow.
Airplane in the sky, that can take me away. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead. Come with the lyrics up. Airplane in the sky. Oh, dear. I mean, brother, isn't it? Yeah, man. Listen. Listen. Rest in peace, Kevin Samuel. Right? I think we can talk about somebody. We can critique somebody without throwing out hate. You understand? So,
like we just did. We critiqued him, but we didn't throw hate.
Sorry. Yeah, we didn't throw hate. You know, let's talk about
I'm listen back the show before me confirm anything.
I will.
Me sure that somehow will get a bit close, but
but somebody will take his place. Listen, there's a few people that are probably in line to take his place. Those 1 million viewers will gravitate to. They'll gravitate.
Come on, ORT, man. Come on, ORT, man. It's only 3 letters.
Then it done. Yeah. Well, it would be good, but let's keep our core principles intact and not get swept away by smelling ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Let's resist the temptation to think that everything that comes out of our mouth is important.
Yeah.
Because
like certain persons on a certain national station in London. How some people keep them job on a station, I don't know. Kindred. Kindred, me never call her name, me throw me stone, you know. Me fling me stone like Akpen, first one ball. So, Kindred.
There's not a whole lot I can add to what Ebony and Brother Essie said, and I think I probably would go back to Brother Essie's point about the vibration. And we all make choices about what frequency we want to vibrate on. And I think it's a timely reminder about the importance of raising your frequency and your vibration for your own health and well-being.
Elevate yourself. Elevate yourself.
What I would say, I'd agree with all of that. The only thing I would add is read some Mayola Angela, man, and what the next one name, Toni Morrison. Read some of these people. Try to just develop an emotional language, man.
Van Zandt. Powerful. Yes.
Read some things that can help heal you, man. God Almighty. How long you gonna go on? So, anyway, until the next show, on walk good.
Yes, my brother.
Good night. Sleep well.
Yeah.
Don't dream about airplanes.
No, why? It's burnt into my mind now. Airplane.
But it's gonna sleep good tonight,
707. Watch me.
Good night, family. One love.
Take
Oh,
care.
yeah.
Peace,
Stay
my brother.
blessed, family. Stay blessed.
Peace, my listener.
Organize, sit down, reason and talk.
Included below are related links to this discussion. Please share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, talk the thing.
ORT is a Glover Media production.